Welcome to my channel, Acheno Ogola the lawyer. Karibuni sana. Today we are going to be talking about some important issues that candidates should consider as they are vying in the 2022 general elections here in Kenya. I know we all know it's the political season, and of course, as an advocate of the High Court, I have seen that it's important to share such knowledge with some of the aspirants so that they can be able to ensure that they win the elections. If you enjoy the video, like, share, and subscribe. So as I give these nuggets of wisdom concerning how to ensure that you win the elections, maybe I would like to put it across that my first time interacting with the elections is when I was in second year at Kabarak University Law School, where I vied to be a student president. Of course, I was green at that time, but I lost the elections gracefully, I can say. But I also had some lessons that I learned. I've also had the privilege of being involved in the Law Society of Kenya national elections and branch elections for some aspirants. I was in their inner cabinet meetings, and I got to learn how elections are lost and won. And so the nuggets that I'm going to be sharing cuts across all types of elections. And one thing we should understand as someone who's vying is that strategy is important, of course, and the type of strategy you use should be relevant to the area that you're vying, because we understand in Kenya that politics are local. For example, what will work for a candidate who's vying in Northeastern is not necessarily what will work for a candidate who's vying in the coastal region or in the western side of Kenya. So you should understand that different strategies will work for different people. So this video is going to be in two parts, and this first one is part one. And I know this video is being aired less than a month to the elections, so I hope that the candidates will find it useful and they will be able to implement whichever points that they can. I'm just going to read one quote by a famous writer in the area of elections. He's called Ron Foshooks in 1997. He's one of the great campaign consultants and defined strategy in a campaign and elections as how you position the candidate and allocate campaign resources to the benefit of the candidate's strengths and minimizing their weaknesses. So in the campaign, of course, we know that you require resources, financial, human resource, to be able to conduct your campaigns well, but it's how you use these resources and maximize on the candidate's strength and minimize the weaknesses that will determine how you'll win the elections. So the first point that I'll give is ensure that you execute and plan everything or all the plans with military precision. Military precision means that what you have decided that you'll do has to be done in the very exact way and in an organized manner that you intended. Because in the last, let me say, 30 or less days to elections, there are various preparations that have to be made. For example, the types of agents that you'll use, and agents have to be people who are your diehards. So in the recruitment, of course, you have to ensure as one of the plans that your agents are comfortable so that they're not bribed by your opponents. So plan and execute everything with military precision. That's the first point. The second point is use scientific methods to win. It's important to note that in Kenya, of course, there is the data that is used to be able to analyze by the margin that you need to require to win and the type of voters that are in the area, the demographics and such kind of things. So when you have such kind of data and you analyze it, you know the margins by which you require to win an elections, the type of demographics in a certain area, so that you are informed even in the decision-making process of which strategy to use while campaigning and even on the election day itself. The third point that I will say is know your value proposition. In business, a value proposition is a simple statement that summarizes why a customer will choose your product or service. So why would the youth, for example, vote for a certain presidential candidate as opposed to another? Maybe because they're guaranteed of more opportunities when this candidate enters into power. So you should know exactly what you are selling to the electorate. That means the voters, and especially the MCAs and the MPs. You should really understand the needs of your constituents and of your ward members so that you can be able to stand out and be able to win the elections. Then the fourth point is study your opponents. You should be able to know your opponent's strengths and weaknesses. This is because, for example, in an area like Coast, you would know in an area where people are vying, let's say 22 candidates, which candidates stand a chance and why would they stand a chance? For example, if maybe you're the only woman vying, that would be a strength for a woman who's vying, and a man would see that as his weakness, because then it means in a place where 22 candidates are vying and maybe there's only one woman, then that woman is likely to get that seat because of maybe affirmative action or people giving her sympathy votes, things like that. Of course, even when you are talking about the strengths and weaknesses of your opponents, you should also see the things that they are doing that we will talk about in another video, that could be election offenses that you could actually use to challenge their win. So just know the strengths and weaknesses of your opponents, and it will help you decide on the best strategy even as we near to the election day. The next point is to know yourself. This is very important, especially, let me say, for women aspirants who are vying. This is because generally as women, it's a known fact, you're judged differently or on a higher pedestal than men. And even now that you're in the political scene, much is expected of you. So you should understand your limits, the things that you can do or should not do, and also you should understand your strengths even as a person. Now we've talked about studying the strengths and weaknesses of your opponents. Also study yourself and know what are your major strengths that could help you be able to win the elections. Then the sixth point is having confidence. There's a quote which usually says that when you have confidence, you're halfway there into whichever thing that you've set your mind on. So having confidence is very important. That's why you see even people who know that they may not have a chance at being elected as president, but nevertheless they still vie because they have confidence in themselves and the various policies that they are sharing with the voters. And at this point, I'd like to give a case example, or rather, let me not go there, but yes, we've seen people who are giving their best, and it really does help, especially for women. I'll say mwanamke ni urembo na kujiamini. We've seen women who have been able to be elected as governors, even though there are not many in the last, let me say, Council of Governors, but yes, you should have confidence in yourself. Then the seventh point is put the strength in your wings. What does this mean? You should be able to fall back to yourself when everyone else leaves you. For example, in a campaign that is for the member of county assembly, let's say you've woken up one day to go and do the door-to-door and your campaign people have not turned up. You should still be able to go out and do that door-to-door as you had earlier planned, rather than sitting back and feeling that you should be fully reliant on people. So build, or rather capacity build yourself for any eventuality and be able to push yourself till the last minute. The eighth point is know the rules of the game. Now, there are electoral laws that govern the whole process of elections, from the pre-election period to the campaign period, even to the voting day itself and the post-election period. You should be able to understand the various electoral laws that are in place, especially maybe let me say for these last days. You should understand now the laws regarding election offences, because some of the offences that will be committed now are the grounds that will be used to challenge the wins of various candidates, and now even to understand what happens during the election day itself, so that in the event that there is a need to do an election petition, you are well furnished with the knowledge and you are collecting evidence from this point. So knowing the rules of the game helps you understand how you should conduct yourself, and even the ICT systems that will be in place, because right now you are very much aware that there will be only the electronic register that is going to be used. So in the event there is issues with this electronic register, how will it be addressed in court? So those are some of the issues that we should, or rather anyone vying should be able to know. Then the 9th point is hiring a research team. Now, this I saw happen in the political party which I was in, or rather still I am in, and we were able to do a research to understand the various candidates that are vying around the country, and the various strengths and weaknesses of these candidates. So also as a candidate, you should be able to have people who give you the information on the ground on what you require to do to be able to win, and so that you can understand the unique needs of your voters. Then the 10th point is have think tanks in your team. It's related to the research team, but now in the think tank, we have a group of interdisciplinary scholars who are to perform research around particular policies, issues, and ideas. So these think tanks will guide you to be able to make informed decisions, maybe especially related to the legal issues around elections and politics at this point. Because I've seen sometimes candidates rather invest in a campaign team that does not have people who are gifted in certain areas, and only put their relatives and friends, and maybe these people are not resource persons who they can rely on when push comes to shove. So it's important to have people who are experienced in specific areas and can give you the necessary legal or technical knowledge that you desire. So this is part 1. See you in the next video.